Well, we're back at it again. Another day working on the Corolla. So more stuff came in. I got the water pump, which I was waiting on to assemble the front of the engine entirely. So that's awesome. I just got the water pump on. I don't know if this alternator works or anything, because this is the original 16 valve rear wheel drive alternator, so I have no idea. But the pulley is a little bent, so I'm gonna have to replace it with my front wheel drive pulley. You can see the bend right there. So the bearing makes a little bit of noise, so I'll probably just end up getting a whole new alternator, just because why not? I'm already at this level of, you know, replacing shit, so might as well do that. Peace of mind. And the water pump looks super good down there. Just installed it with the new gasket. So I'm about to put the timing belt on right now. So I thought I might as well film that because I have a little extra tip for this tensioner that I show people sometimes. So it just worked for me over the years, so go ahead and install it right now. So I accidentally moved my crank around a little bit when I was messing with the crank pulley, so I'm just going to zero it out real quick. You want the crank pulley to be at 0 degrees, and then the two little timing marks I'll show you on the cam gears up there, I'll show you when I'm done with this. So what you want to do with this is just put the timing gear cover on for the crank. Kind of goes like that. So that has the numbers on it, you can see right there. So there's a 0 mark. You want to line it up with the 0 on the crank pulley. So for some reason my T3 crank pulley doesn't fit over this lower cover, so I'm just going to throw my stock one back on for this. Alright, so that's set at 0 right now. I'm going to take the camera off so you can see exactly where it is. A little mark right there. There's a cutoff on your stock pulley. Line that up with the 0 and you're good. So the crankshaft is now at 0 degrees, so we can go ahead and put the timing cover on, the timing belt on, and then the cover, and then the pulley. But I gotta figure out why my pulley is bigger, so I might not be able to even run the cover, which is a bit of a bummer, but you know, maybe just enlarge the hole a little bit on the timing cover, so I don't know, we'll see. Alright, so I just backyard modified this really ugly, but it'll work, so I'm gonna throw it on now because it'll clear, and I don't want to show it on camera too much because it's quite embarrassing. Okay, got the belt all routed. Now there's a little spring down there. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers to put that back on the spring pedestal, and so that will tension the belt. Got my pliers, and so now I'm going to try to get the camera in there so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Alright, so the spring pedestal is right there at the end of my finger. It's just a little stub that comes out with a groove cut into it for the spring hook to actually go into. So we're just going to put that on there right now. Okay, so now the timing belt has tension, but what we're going to do is just give that a little bit of extra push over to the other side and then tighten the bolt. So that's what I like to do. I like to just push it a little bit farther because I don't really trust how loose that is right now with the spring in place, and just help it out a little bit. You don't want to do it too much because having a tight timing belt is just as bad as having a loose timing belt. So just a little bit. I'll do that right now. Alright, so I just had to fine tune it a little bit. Basically, you don't really want it tight, like super rubber band tight at all. That's about the amount of play you want in your belt. And just a little bit on the top as well, because if you have it too tight, it puts a lot of extra stress on the rubber belt, and it's just gonna snap. So just a little bit. I mean, when I'm prying up right here up against the water pump on the tensioner, I'm barely doing anything at all, just a tiny bit to snug it up a little bit so that it's not just loose like on the spring. So there it is, it's all tightened. Super easy. You really can't get any more easy than a 4AG water pump, or you really can't you really can't get any simpler than a 4AG timing belt, because there's nothing to it. Tensioner, cam gears, crank pulley, that's it. So now we can put the trigger wheel back on for the crank, and then the lower cover, the backyard modified timing cover, and we're all good. Alright, so for right now, the engine is as complete as I can get it for right now. I am missing just a couple parts that I need to actually button things up. Still need electric fans for the radiator. That's one thing. What else? Oh yeah, I need to block this old port right here for the EVAP, no, not the EVAP, the EGR system. So I need to create a plate that goes in the back of the manifold. I need to plug this. I need a catch can for these two right here. What else? I need to get an actual AE86 belt because I think the FX16 one is different. But everything down there is looking good. I have the tension maxed out, so this seems tight enough, but I don't know, we'll see when I start it, I guess. I need new battery terminals because these ones are pretty gross. They're just original to the car. I would like to replace the ignition coil as well because I just found out that that's original with 190,000 miles on it. So that's sketchy. I think I am going to go ahead and order a brand new alternator as well, just for peace of mind. But I got the hoses on. I think I have this one mounted correctly. I don't know. This is kind of weird shape. But the bottom one is on as well. So that's done. And shoot, what else? I just got to tighten a couple hose clamps back there. And replace that gas tank. I guess I can go ahead and replace the brake master cylinder and the clutch master. I think I might actually do that right now. Take this heat shield off and take the master off and then take the booster off and then paint that and put it back on and then do the clutch. So there we go. I got the parts, so let's replace this ugly thing with a brand new one.
Smoke, smoke, smoke.
Please leave a message after the tone.
so that was kind of a job, but they are in and they look so much better. Look at those brand new fittings on there. Not on the brake lines because I don't really feel like flaring brake lines, and they're fine. So went ahead and painted the booster, so now it's not rusty. I just got to replace that hose clamp now because my OCD is kicking in, and that's the only ugly thing left. But got the heat shield on there, kind of hides the beauty of the new master cylinder, but you know, it is what it is. It looks so much better though. You gotta love your car, and it'll love you back, because I don't want anything to go wrong with these new parts. So get the good stuff, it's worth the money, don't cheap out on anything. You know, just do it right and do it smart. So there it is. And right here, I got the clutch slave ready to go in, brand new, icing, with the braided steel line. So there's no flex there, and then here's the disgusting old one with the rubber hose that looks old as hell, and the slave is just super rusty. So yeah, there's a side by side. I can't really film under the car because it's not on jack stands or anything, but you know, just picture me putting this one line on. So I just put my pilot bearing in my freezer inside my house because it wasn't wanting to fit in the back of the crank. So the whole idea behind the freezer is that the metal kind of shrinks a little bit, thus allowing you to kind of hammer it into the spot where it goes inside, or on the end of the crank. So hopefully that works. But here is the rest of my clutch kit. I ended up going with an Exidi because, I don't know, it's like the one brand I trust for, you know, I like a really cheap but still good clutch kit. So it's a full face. I don't want to touch it with my fingers, but there it is. Let's see if I can get the other side. Boom. Nice. Full face, should be really light clutch. Comes with a new throwout bearing, pilot bearing, which is in the freezer, and a pressure plate. So that's going to be sick. And of course I have my ARP flywheel bolts going right there for the Toto flywheel, which of course is the creme de la creme of this whole thing. So, so good. That's money right there. While that thing is freezing up nice and good in the freezer, I'm gonna go ahead and try to test fit some interior because I just keep drooling over that black interior over there, and I just really want to see it in the car. So I'm gonna try it out the door panel right now. So there's a before with the blue door panel. You can see the destroyed door cup right there. I mean, this thing just crumbles apart in your hand, like it's so bad. So that's pretty gross. I hate touching that. And somebody spray painted these door handle covers right here. Not digging that. So all of my door cards that I have, including the black ones, have these little like vinyl coating chips right on the top just from the sun. So for these, I'm gonna try to fix them up using some interior dye, like some black interior dye, and trying to do that. So we'll see how that goes. Well, anyway, it's gonna go from this. All right, and there's the black one. So these aren't perfect. They were stored flat facing, I think, because there's like a little bit of like imprint right here, and you can see the same vinyl kind of peeling that I'm gonna try to dye with some black dye, but for right now it's fine. Black door handles as well. Door cups are completely perfect. Like, they're super solid and they won't crack. They're just so much better. So pretty stoked with that. And I don't know, the rest of the interior is gonna be kind of a job, but it'll get done because, you know, just blue interior doesn't look that good. Yeah, so there's a good comparison of the stock GTS and then the black SR5. I don't mind having the SR5 interior at all because it's black and it's in so much better condition. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about the seats yet. Maybe refurbish the passenger side, but for the driver's side, I think I'm gonna go with a bucket seat because this thing is trashed. Really not good at all. So that's kind of the plan. I also have black carpet upstairs as well. So after all the good things I just said about ELLIOTT, they actually sent me the wrong pilot bearing, which I was waiting for a long time. So I was trying to hammer it in like, why won't this go in easily? Turns out this is a lot bigger for some reason. You can obviously tell the wrong bearing. So I ended up pulling this one out of the original 4AG that came with the car. Took off the grease caps, like the blue circular parts right there. Cleaned out the bearing, repacked it, and sealed it back up, and it seems fine. Rolls just nice, so I'm gonna throw it in. Not ideal, but I'm tired of waiting for bearings and I can't find one anywhere around here. So gonna go ahead and throw this bearing in, put on the flywheel, the clutch kit, and then lift up that beautiful T50. And then definitely not gonna forget the sandwich plate. Throw the T50 in, drive shaft, shifter, and I will have a complete drivetrain. Okay, so still the same day. I just got the transmission on. Sorry I didn't film anything of it, but when you're under the car, your hands are covered in grease and dirt and slime, and there's like this much room to actually work. The last thing I want down there is a camera, but I got the Toyota flywheel on, I got the ELLIOTT clutch kit with the rebuilt pilot bearing on there. So that's all good, it fits surprisingly well. The Toyota flywheel comes with new pressure plate bolts because I was a little bit worried about that because I couldn't find my original ones or even bolts the same size. So luckily I looked back in the box and there they were. So that's all on, perfectly aligned. And I did the old trick with the floor jack, shoved the transmission under there, just, you know, raised it up with the jack a little bit and slid the input shaft, you know, into the clutch, and it went amazingly well. It never goes that well for me. Literally, it just slid right in the splines and right on the dowels. It was amazing. Like, I wish I would have filmed that just because I was like amazed. So anyway, transmission's on. I just bolted on the slave cylinder onto the transmission. So the clutch fork works now, everything's good. So next is gonna be the drive shaft, which I still haven't done yet, and hook up the exhaust, and right now I'm doing the starter. So I went ahead and took the manifold off, so there's the starter down there. This is the original one to the car, so hopefully it works because my front wheel drive one has stripped threads inside the body right there. So this one's gonna have to do for now, but it's easy enough to replace even if it does go bad. So I have very little reason to believe that it would be. Anyway, so I'm about to put on the manifold right now after I run inside and grab my brand new exhaust manifold gasket. So after that, it's ready to crank. Still need to make a plate for this. There's just a hole in the back of the intake manifold, and I have to plug that. And see that gas tank right there? I gotta bolt that on and replace all the fuel lines and put the brand new pump in there and the filter. Also, if you made it this far in the video, yes, I did buy the carbon fiber hatch for the Corolla. So this was on Craigslist. I bought it locally, but I actually got it delivered, which is awesome because I don't have a car to go get it. So it's in pretty good condition. It has the typical like carbon fiber like clear coat fade. I'll show you right here. It kind of has that fade a little bit, but the good news is it's going on this car, and this car is not perfect at all. So it's gonna match, and there's no rust, like right there, and you know, on the inside of the entire hatch. So this is cool, and it's super light. This whole thing is like super duper light, so that's gonna be awesome. I got a set of Super Sharks. I'm gonna put one on the car right now so you can kind of get a feel of what they look like. Yep, so there they are. Some more baller parts along with the carbon fiber. I also got some Call-In Super Sharks. They are very mild spec. I didn't really want anything too aggressive for a street car, but these are, and I'm just not into the whole stance thing, so, and I also didn't want to spend $2 grand. A lot of reasons why I got these, right? So, Call-In Super Sharks, 14 by 6.5 plus 11 square set, so all of them are the same spec. And they're gonna be baller. They look so good. And they fit very, very well. Of course, everything on the front suspension is stock still. All right, so there is the part number for the 4AG exhaust manifold gasket. I'll throw that on right now, it looks so good. Just awesome to buy brand new OEM stuff like this, because the car definitely deserves it. All right, so I just connected the starter and connected the battery. So we're gonna try to bump the key for the very first time with the new engine. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I mean, it's not gonna start. I just wanna see if the starter will turn the engine. So here we go. There's no ECU in the car, but oop, it's clicking. Dead battery? Alright, so my bad. I forgot to ground the engine, so I just did that. I'm going to add one more cable just to make sure that it's all good, but that's the factory one right there going to the frame rail. And then there's this, which I'm not happy about right here on the inner fender. That's going directly to the battery, so that's not original, and these terminals are disgusting. Battery voltage right there, so I'm going to monitor that when I'm cranking it this time. And I don't know, everything's super like just ghetto right now, just so I could see. And just in case, I went ahead and smacked the starter, and this may or may not work right now. So gonna monitor the battery when I'm cranking it and see what happens. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty confident. Oops, my hair is a disaster. Anyway, so if you don't have the motor grounded, the starter is not going to have any ground. It's basically like having a battery with only the positive cable connected. So when you go to start it, it's not going to work. So go to the clutch. It still has the clutch safety switch. So, oh, yo, it cranks. It cranks. That's so cool to hear. Oh my god. Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Well, it only goes downhill from here. Got to put the ECU in, got to put the new gas tank in, and take a shower, because I'm absolutely disgusting. I've been under a spider-infested rusty car that's been sitting since 2004, but this video is awesome. And one more baller part I gotta show you. Instructions, junk. Oh, I thought that was a sticker. That would have been sick if it was a sticker. So here is the contents. There's the part that bolts onto the transmission. So you can see the TRD right there. They're all brand new. Here's the actual shift lever, obviously. And the brand new TRD shift knob. Still in the foam. I don't want to touch any of this because my hands are disgusting. So I'll just touch the foam. But yeah, so that is the last of the baller parts that I have right now. The Fortunatos are coming in and one or two other goodies. So one of the very last things I'm waiting for is the my coilovers that I actually got. They're Fortunato 500s, so they are handmade to order, so they're gonna be about 2 or 3 weeks from now. So that's a bit of a bummer because this car is super close to running. Next video it's definitely gonna be running. I just gotta throw the gas tank in there, get some gas, and just do a couple odds and ends in the engine bay. For right now, the transmission is in, clutch kit is on, drive shaft can go on right now, starter's all bolted up, just gotta plug in the 2 plugs and hook it up to the battery. And I got the ignition sorted, so she's getting super close. So next video it's gonna be running. I just wanted to show you some of the baller parts I got, and I'm getting pretty stoked. So I'm dragging on this video so long it's gonna be a nightmare. Anyway, if you made it this far, leave a comment and see you in the next video.